Hey everyone, how's it going? So what am I working on now? Well, I got a 2018 Chevy Silverado that got towed into me. This one right here. Customer was at another shop, and the other shop told him he needed an engine. Why? Why do you need an engine? Supposedly it's got a misfire. So, okay. And is it possible? Yeah, sure, it's possible it needs an engine. I don't know anything else. This thing got towed in at the end of the day Friday. It's now Monday. So they said it's got a dead cylinder. They said they did a compression test, but that's as far as they went. And it had either low compression or no compression or something along those lines. And they said it needs an engine, $15,000. So I don't know. I'd rather give it a good look over. That's why he called us, and we said, well, did they do a leak down test? Did they do this, that, the other thing? No, they didn't do any of that. They just did a compression test, said it's got no compression. Now, do I believe they even did a compression test? I don't know. It's hard to say. I haven't looked at it yet. So let's actually start this up and let's see what we got going on. So I don't know if it's going to make noise. I haven't the slightest idea. Like I said, it's been sitting since Friday afternoon. No, it's quiet as a mouse. There is no noise to this other than a misfire and a flashing check engine light. All right, so let me pull this thing up. I know there's so much sun glare here, but I can't help it. I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to check to see what we have for misfires. I'm going to grab the scanner. I mean, but sitting all weekend, you heard it start and the motor didn't make any noise, nothing. So I don't even know what the mileage is on this. Hold on a second and I will tell you. It's hot in here. Yeah. It's got 91,000 miles, 91,530 to be exact. Let me go grab my scanner. Let's hook that up. Let's see what we got. So I'm running a scan right now, but I was up under the hood real quick. I wanted to just take a quick gander. And what I see is somebody's been in here. Cylinder 1, if you look at the coil, it looks like that coil was messed with. But also, if you look down at the spark plug, the shield that's around the spark plug, see it's got marks on it from like a pair of pliers. And then even that one on cylinder, what is this? This cylinder 1, that's 3. That looks like it too. So did they pull plugs out and check? Yeah, seems like it. It's possible. So let's see what the codes actually are. Then we're going to go from there. It is running the scan, so it'll probably take a minute or two. It's almost done. Hop in. Sorry, this is what I go through on a daily basis. And the sun glare is bad. Now, one thing, this thing had this in the OBD port. This is one of those fake, I think it is, one of those fake gas mileage improvers. Basically all it is it's LEDs that light up and make you think it's doing something. They do absolutely nothing. These do, however, cause problems occasionally, not all the time. They can cause running problems. I've seen it before. I've seen them create weird issues. So just something to keep in mind. So, all right, this thing has finished its scan. Let me create a report. Okay. Okay. The internet is so wonky lately, it's really creating issues. I hate the fact that everything has to be connected via internet nowadays. Share, I'm just going to email it to myself. This is a email account I have. Did it send? Come on. There we go. It's an email account I have basically just for these reports. Just makes it easier, instead of searching through everything. So let me see what the actual codes are. Engine Engine misfire. Ignition coil supply voltage. Circuit bank 1 and bank 2. Okay. How does that wind up being an engine? I don't know. I really don't know. That's kind of confusing to me. Let me clear the codes. I'm going to just clear everything out of this thing. No, actually, I'm not going to clear the codes. Because sometimes you clear the codes and then you can't watch misfires. Not right away, at least. Let's see. Special functions. No. Is it data stream? Misfire data. There again, guys, I am sorry about the sun glare. There is nothing I can do about it. Actually, let me try moving this to a different spot. I would think if this thing needed an engine, it would have a dead hard miss that would set an actual code in a particular cylinder. Have random misfire detected, and then those coils. The coils could be because they unplugged them and swapped them. I don't know. So cylinder 1. I'm picking right now what I want to see. So I got cylinder 1 misfire, current and history, 2. Current and history, 3, current and history, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let me start it up. So we have cylinder 1. Cylinder 1 is misfiring, see that? Now, some other cylinders, when you get random misfires like that, ignore them until you fix the one that's the actual problem. So cylinder 1 is the obvious actual problem. So now we got to check for spark and everything else and go from there. All right, so I'm up under the hood of this Silverado. We're going to start with the basics. I don't care what somebody else said. I know they said it had no compression in that first cylinder, but I don't listen to what anybody else has to say. I got to confirm it myself. So what's the first thing you would do in a situation like this? Make sure it has spark. So here we're going to go down to cylinder 1. We're going to pop off the wire. I did pop it off previously. That's why it just popped off real easy like that. Then I'm going to take a regular old spark tester. I'm going to plug this in. Now, hold on. Actually, I don't know if I could do this. Hold on. Apologize. All right, so now this type of spark tester is, you can use it in line or you can go right to ground. I prefer to go to ground. I'm going to explain that one later. But basically, I'm just going to go to the coil wire, and then hopefully you can see that. Now, if this thing starts and when it starts and runs, in the camera as a view, it may not show as a smooth spark, but I'll tell you if it is or isn't. And yes, that is a smooth spark. So it's got good spark, but obviously cylinder 1 is dead. So next step is we're going to pull the plug out and we're going to inspect it. Let me go grab some tools for that. Hang on. All right. So can we zoom down a little bit? Does that work for you guys? Yeah, I think so. Maybe, maybe not. No, actually I gotta zoom out. I can't get a good angle on this. So this we're gonna take off. Just get it out of the way. Come on. All right. That's a new plug. Isn't it? It's a brand new plug. All right. I used an NGK, not what my first choice would have been on this one. I would have used an AC Delco, but it's neither here nor there. All right, let me get a compression tester. Let's see what our compression actually is. All right, so we'll screw the compression tester in. All right, you could see that, right? Okay. Let's see. All right, let's start this thing up for a second. I can't see it, obviously. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Why is it absolutely nothing? Now we got to do a leak down test, see if we can't figure out where is the compression going. So let me go get my leak down tester and let's start doing a leak down test on this. I decided to stick a bore scope down there, as you just saw, and before I did the leak down test, and I don't see anything wrong with the piston, so it's leaning more towards the valve. But let me get my leak down tester, and I gotta get this thing on top dead center somehow and try to figure out what's actually going on. We're probably gonna have to pop the valve cover off, but let me try that first. Leak down tester, that is. All right, so I got a tremendous amount of leak down going on here. As you see, I got 100 psi going in, but it's only holding back about 14. And when I stand by the exhaust, I can hear noise out the exhaust, like air rushing out. So I'm gonna pop this valve cover off because that piston in that video didn't look bad. So let me pop this valve cover off and let's see what we got going on there. Maybe we have a broken valve spring that just jammed itself enough to hold the valve open but not make any noise. So I don't know. Usually I would think I should get a ticking noise or something, but I don't. So, all right, let's take this apart and see what we got. All right, so we got the valve cover off. I'm gonna have Jaden crank this thing over for me and check this out. All right, go ahead, Jay, crank it over. Do it one more time. Here's a problem. So that is the exhaust valve, I'm pretty sure. So why did my leak down test fail so miserably? It's obviously the valve's not opening up, and I could swear I heard air coming out the exhaust. So either something happened with that lifter and it's hanging the valve open slightly, so I got no compression, or I had this 180 degrees off, and I didn't have it on top dead center, but 180 degrees off, and maybe the valve was hanging open then. Possibility. So I want to check to see if this is actually a DOD lifter, displacement on demand lifter, or AFM, or air fuel management, whatever they call it. I want to see if that's one of these lifters, and I'm going to try a trick and see what happens. Okay, so as it turns out, cylinder number 1 there, that's a DOD cylinder, displacement on demand. That is the system that will shut the lifters down. So I got a funny feeling, usually when they fail, when they get latched and stuck or collapsed or whatever you want to call it, usually you get an awful lot of free play and you get ticking noises and stuff like that. This one's not moving at all. So it's almost as if it's in the DOD mode, meaning it disabled that valve. So I'm going to try a trick that I've seen before. I don't know if it's going to work or not. Regardless, it's going to have to come apart. Even if this does fix it temporarily, it's going to have to come apart because there's something really wrong here. Could it have wiped the cam out? Sure, it could have. I don't think so, only because of how clean this thing is on the inside, but anything's possible. I've seen it before. But what I'm going to try is something a little unconventional. I'm going to try whacking the top of this thing, and hopefully it changes something. I don't know if it will, but let's find out. All right, so let me put you in a holder here, and let's see, can I do that? All right, so now, like I said, usually you would get free play on that rocker, and I have none. So, and the fact that it's not moving at all, I don't know. I'm just going to try. Now, as I whacked it down, I could feel it, like the spring load, kicking it. Now, I don't know. I'm not quite sure. So, let me try cranking it and see what happens. Hang on. All right, and I saw nothing there. So let me try it one more time. But I got a funny feeling we're gonna have to take this thing apart. Try it one more time, see if it does anything. Okay, and we got nothing. So what I decided to do here is I'm actually going to take that rocker arm off, and then I'm going to basically hold the push rod with my finger and crank it over, or have somebody crank it over, and see if it will actually push. The DOD lifter, I don't have one to show you, has a outer spring to it that allows it to basically collapse. Like, that spring is much weaker than the valve spring. So it allows that lifter to collapse, basically hold tension on the push rod so the push rod doesn't fall out. So if I take the rocker arm off and I still have movement from the push rod because my finger is just holding it back, then that tells me, okay, the cam is probably okay. It's probably just the lifter stuck. Only problem is doing the lifters on these, you got to pull the heads off. So, you know, and at this point, are we just going to do one? Or are you going to do all the DOD lifters? Because they are not cheap either. So, I don't know. Up to the customer, I guess. All right, let's take that rocker arm off and go from there. All right, so buttons on your shirt. Let's see, what do I got here? This is probably not strong enough. Hang on 1 second. All right, so I had to go for the big Kahuna Burger quarter drive ratchet. Wow, that's tight. There it goes. I don't know, was I filming the top of my head? Okay. Rocker itself seems fine. No issues with movement. So now, I said I'm going to have to hold that push rod. And let me get Jaden to come over here and see if he can't help me with cranking this thing over. And I'll have to focus you in down there. None of these spots work well. That's probably going to be the best view. So hang on 1 minute. All right, so Jaden's going to give me a hand here. I'm going to have him crank it. All I'm going to do is hold my finger on the push rod to see if it moves. All right, go ahead, crank it. Do it again. All right, as you saw, it moved. So that's a good sign. Huh. That tells me that the lifter jammed at some point. Where am I? Right here. See that? Lifter jammed or something happened with the valve. Interesting. Okay. We are definitely going to have to dig into this. So, what do I think caused this? Okay. Take a good look at this. And you can see marks there from where it hit the head or whatever. Same thing there where it rubbed on the head. Well, what do I think caused this? Why would a push rod bend like that? My thought, my theory, I could be completely wrong. If you got a theory, let me know. I think the lifter hung up in the bore, and when it hung up in the bore, the valve stayed open longer than it should have, and then the piston hit the valve, and that's what caused this kind of damage. At least that's what I think. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. But at this point, we're going to have to pull the head off to get the lifter off, and then at least with the head off, we can actually see the valves. You know, from that video that I made with the borescope, I couldn't see any witness marks of it hitting, of the piston hitting the valve. But you never know. So that's where I think this is going. But you know, it's up to the customer to decide exactly how far they want to go and what they want to do. So that's going to end this video for now until we find out what we're going to do further from here. So, all right, well, hopefully you're getting something out of my videos. If you are, hit the like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.